All right, ladies and gentlemen. Eman, why are you so close to me? Jesus Christ.
I like to get close to you.
I could tell. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. The Too Good For You podcast, the only podcast in California. We got a very special guest today.
That's right.
I don't want to get too deep into this intro shit, but again, special guest. Long Beach legend, the most elusive man in Long Beach. Nice guy Vinny.
What up, what up?
Is in the studio with us.
That's right.
Thank you for having me.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. We just came back from Watts. We went to the TDE Toy Drive concert that they do.
Okay.
It was cool.
Is that a annual thing that they do?
Yeah, I can't remember if they did one last year, but I didn't go last year if they did. But I think there wasn't one since the pandemic.
Okay.
If I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was like one of the first ones I've been to in a minute since the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hold that mic a little bit closer up to your mouth for me, but other than that,
That's
you're good. Yep.
Okay.
But okay, big TDE guys, eh?
Yeah, we went to. We were just going just to check it out. SZA performed. Pretty much everyone besides I think Kendrick's not really TDE anymore, but he's like the only one that wasn't there.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, it was dope.
Cool.
Saw Schoolboy, Isaiah.
Nice. The OGs.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, we got nice guy Vinny, the Long Beach legend himself, and we're gonna pick his brain because boy, do I have some shit to talk to this guy about.
Yeah, I think I've only done like one other podcast thing with someone, so.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
I'm gonna give y'all some
exclusivity right here.
Some real deep things. I'm just kidding.
Yes, perfect. That's Eman's favorite. He loves it.
Nah, if y'all want to go, if y'all want to get the conversation, we could talk about like some crazy philosophical bullshit. But
yeah,
nah,
that's his favorite.
Nah.
He fucking loves that. He's the kind of guy who will get inspired off of you just being like, yeah, you know what? I was born in Long Beach, and he was like, fuck, that's awesome. That's amazing. It's like, all right, cool. Like,
well, do you guys know why they call Long Beach Long Beach? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, see, like, why?
I am curious now. Hold on.
Oh, shit. But no, for the people who don't know, can you give a little brief synopsis of who you are, what you do, and...
Well, most importantly, I feel like I'm just like everybody else. You know what I mean? I know that's cliche, but like it's true. You feel me? But I would say I'm a musician, producer, DJ. Lately, I've been like curating events.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always like dabbled in that as well. I kind of been like involved to a degree just with events, but this year I was a little more hands-on. But yeah, I'm just someone that makes music, and I like to skate, I like to rollerblade, I like to play pool. I just like to just chill most of the time.
Perfect. You hit all the things I was going to bring up in the conversation already. So this guy's good. He knows what he's doing.
You are trained right there.
How long have you been making music?
It's
a trick question.
Yeah, I like to answer the question music has always been around me my whole life. But as far as like taking music seriously, like the act of like, okay, let me do this, I would say since I was probably over like 15 years now. Just so, as a number, I would say. But like more seriously, probably approaching 10 years, Cause like when I was making beats in high school, I'm not to say I wasn't serious about it, but obviously as I've become, more of an adult, I'm like more invested.
Yeah.
A lot of it was just kind of me just had the computer there or the MPC, just fucking around.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously you've been doing music for a long time, and what do you think was kind of like your catalyst to kind of push you into getting into music? Like you said, you've been kind of around music your entire life.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like my dad's a guitar player. My mom's she's a big music head in general, but she was very involved with a lot of the early like LA house scene and just hip hop scene. She was very kind of diving in between both worlds, and also both of her brothers, my uncles, are both DJs.
Okay.
So it was always around. When I tell people that too, like it's not like it's what's the word, like nepotism. A lot of people, it's not like that. It's like my brother everybody in my family makes music, but like it was kind of like I was the only one that. How would I say it? And not to say that my uncles like they had successful careers in their DJ world. They were like DJing clubs and doing all this stuff, but I guess I'm the only one that really was like, yo, I'm really gonna stick to this and just do it. You know?
Because the music Oh, go continue.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That was like the only one.
Because, I mean, obviously, I mean, like, really any sort of media industry is always kind of just like, yeah, you can have, like, success. That can mean anything to you.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
For me, like, when I DJ'd, like I said, I DJ'd a few clubs, did bars, did private events, did that. And I was like, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
like, I'm a DJ. Like, I
cool
did
with
it.
that.
Like,
Yeah,
I was cool with it. Obviously, haven't really done that much anymore. But you can think of it, too, like acting. Like, actors be like, oh, I've done short films. That's... You're still considered an actor, but you're not like Brad Pitt, who's done like huge like movies and stuff like that. But.
Exactly. So I guess like I'm like the only one in my family that was like, yo, like I'm gonna really go full fledged. Like that's all I do. You know what I mean? Obviously, as I've gotten older, you know, I took on other things, but for the most part, I was really the only one that was like, yo, this is really what I want to do for the rest of my life. My uncles were like, yo, we drive cars and shit. Mm-hmm. They were like into like drifting and things like that, and they DJ on the side. Okay. But I was like all about
music, was just
music, everything music.
Nice. What trying to go back to that. So like, was there like a moment in time where you're just like, this is what I want to do?
Okay, so this is cool because, you know, like I always say this when it comes to any type of interview, is a producer specifically, you know, for the most part, it's not like I rap or anything, so I don't really get to tell like my story. I don't get to be like, yo, here's a song. Yeah. This is my life, blah, blah. So I always appreciate being able to share certain things that I'd never be really to talk about.
Of course.
So, like with production, my uncle, he got married in Moreno Valley, and his brother, my other uncle, brought his computer. And we were bored, just kind of waiting for them, like, I think it wasn't even the wedding yet. It was just some kind of, like, dinner. And then we all ended up at the house, and he had a laptop with a couple of music-making programs on it. And me and my brother were just fucking around on it. And then that kind of was like, okay. I did, like a little loop, like a little fucking 2-minute beat. And my uncle was like, yo, this is actually dope. It was like I was just dragging loops it was Sony Acid Pro. So I was just dragging loops around and just kind of making shit, and they're like, yo, this is actually fire, because I was always that kid that's like, you know what I'm saying? So I was always doing that, so it was kind of easy for me to structure inside of that program. Yeah. And then he gave us the CDs to install it on our computer at home, and ever since then we started making beats. I came home one day, my brother was like, yo, I got an MPC, and that was kind of just...
That's it.
That's the start right there.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, is, like, I was, like, sneaking onto my brother's, like, shit. Like, he wouldn't, you know, he's my big brother, and he would let me use it, but there's a lot of times where he's just being a big brother. He's like, nah, don't touch my shit. So I'd fucking wake up in the middle of the night, like, turn on the MPC headphones, boom. Wow. Just kind of learning, you know. And that was before. Nowadays, there's a lot more information. You could go on Instagram and learn how to make a beat, essentially. Before, you couldn't do that, you know?
YouTube
So I was kind of
figuring
shit out, yeah. So
YouTube University is different.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you musically, like, instrumentally trained as well?
Yeah. So like I said, even though I grew up around like a family of musicians, like my dad was playing guitar. I grew up having a drum set, but it wasn't like they were like
you have to play the drums.
Yeah, and they weren't like watering that into me. You know what I mean? They're not like, yo, you're gonna be the fucking best piano player. It was just kind of like, yo, we all make music. If you want to play, you can play. So a lot of it was I had to take that on myself. But I do have like a background. I play violin since 2nd grade. Always kind of dabbled on the piano. So, but it was never anything that's like, it's not like I went to Berkeley for music or something. A lot of it is still self-taught, even though it was always around me. Nice. So,
what do you think was like okay, well, let's just say, what kind of music do you produce?
I don't know. I would say like it's all rooted within like hip hop, you know, being from Long Beach, being from just how I grew up, was just a LA West Coast person, just hip hop's always going to be there. And, you know, growing up with the family that I described is there's turntables in our house all the time. So you're hearing all different types of music, whether it's like, you know, I'm also, you know, my mom's side is Dominican. So it's like we got all like, you know, bachata playing, and then my uncle's playing house music. Fucking, you know, 90s hip hop, 2000, you know, just all the stuff is just around us from R&B. So I think all that kind of, I think a lot of other artists nowadays, we kind of share that. Yeah. But it's definitely been a big melting pot of music around my life. So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, this is what I make. Yeah. But definitely everything I'm doing is very rooted within hip hop. But I just like to make music. I mean, a year from now, I might make something that I've never made before. Yeah. So I'm always experimenting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a new thought, but I heard something that really kind of like stuck with me, and it was like, once you start making something, you know, for yourself that you truly enjoy, like that's kind of when you know that like, hey, I'm happy with this. If you're not like okay, I have to make hip hop beats or I have to make house beats, you're just like, no, I'm just gonna make whatever I feel like, and you said you can pick and choose.
Yeah, exactly.
You can take a drum loop from this bachata song and put it
turn
on
it into
top
trap
of,
drums. Yeah,
and it,
exactly.
do whatever else you want with it. Like you have that melting pot of sounds, which I think there's a lot of people from our time and obviously around our time like kind of have. Like I think
that's what's cool about it nowadays is like, I mean, obviously, and sometimes, don't get me wrong, I also think there's certain, like, a lot of stuff is genreless. I think genre is important because it allows you to kind of, it's like a history book. It's like, okay, cool, like this is that sound, this is that area that they're from. I think it's important to not like lose sight of that, or like also what's the word? I guess take advantage. Some people hop on the sound. It's like, oh, this is the current sound. That's like right now, like what is it? I'm a piano in South Africa is like the sound that every DJ is playing it right now. Blah blah blah. Producers are incorporating it into other music, but I think it's also important to still, pay attention to like exactly what that is. Only not everything has to be a fusion all the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. But with that being said, there's always that's music. Yeah. Things are gonna pull from other things. Yeah. So when I try to do it, I just try to honor the roots as much as I can. Mm-hmm. I'm not just like let me just go make fucking some cumbia music and I don't know shit about it. Like I really dive myself into the sound that I'm applying to my own music. I'm not just like, oh, I like those drums, I'm using them. I'm really gonna go and learn who's the best person to do that, who made that, just that's just me personally.
Yeah, making it authentic all around.
Yeah, I try to make it as like authentic as I possibly can.
Yeah. No, I think that's a real good way to look at it. That was something I kind of wanted to bring up too eventually, but since we kind of talked about it, like, do you think there is a like overused kind of like not template, but like overused kind of like idea when it comes to producing that you kind of see a lot of producers like, oh, like if I just take like 808s or like, oh, yep, I gotta get a soulful, vocal sample.
No, I get you. I get the question. That's a complicated question for me. I wouldn't say overused. I think that sometimes, and I think maybe it's, I guess the best way to put it is a lot of people are still learning. Like nowadays, it's like you can go download a program right now and you'll have an album out on Spotify the next month. It's not like you really have to like. There's not that level of like, oh, I should wait a little bit. It's like right now, if you start a DJ, we see it all the time. There's people, they just start DJing, they're playing a gig, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like we got a lot of homies who do that, and that's cool. I'm all about it. Like, yo, you're stupid. Hey, but see, that's a perfect example. He's killing it. You know what I mean? And he's good. I just seen him not that long ago at one of his events. I was doing sound. He's fucking killing it. You see what I mean? So the timeline doesn't matter. It's also, but I feel like someone like him, he's a musician. So
definitely,
whether he knows it or not, that is gonna get applied. He has an ear that other people don't have. Yeah. So that's why he can do it in a small amount of time and be successful at it. And that's just probably just him in general. He's someone that's like I think he is. He's just talented. So when you're talented,
simple way to put
you
it.
can fucking tell him like, yo, bro, we need you to be like the guy that changes wheels on the fucking race cars. He's gonna be the best guy to do it.
Yeah.
That's just his personality. Some people are like that, and some people aren't. But really, what I'm saying is, I guess there's less of a. People are willing to put themselves out there more, and it's a lot easier. And so that's why kind of with that question, are people overdoing it? It's hard to say because I think people are just figuring themselves out, and you're just being able to share it. You're able to see people grow a lot easier now. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Like think about all the albums like that we really like. What would be the word? That are like legendary albums. Snoop Dogg, Jay-Z, whatever. Like you're not really listening to their demos. Their first album was like we never actually heard. We don't know if that was their first music.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Most of the time it isn't. That's the one the one that goes through like hours and hours.
Yeah, exactly.
People
like
tuning
it's getting
it,
refined. Yeah, exactly. So nowadays you don't really see that as much. Some people's music that's out was like, yo, this is my first song. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Like you said, like they just. Whatever, they have a Max or GarageBand's in there, they can make a quick loop, and then it's like, I'm gonna rap over this.
So then they're
and
learning, they're going to YouTube, and they're like, yo, how do I make this? And then they're gonna overuse something because of that. So I don't really try to critique people too much about that. I'm more so like, okay, are you gonna continue doing that for the next 5 years? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm really going off more like longevity wise in terms of like my critiques.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I wasn't putting that question out there to be
No, I get it,
let's
yeah.
have Vinny critique the entire production industry. It was
Well,
much
I'm just kidding. No.
it was much just to be like, you know, like obviously, yeah, because I mean, you could think of it like really anything in that sense of like, okay, like when it comes to DJing or anything too, it's like as long as you have that air horn sound, like, well, I'm the fucking DJ.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, hey,
yeah,
we
yeah.
don't always need that air horn to in between.
Yeah, that's another thing I would say.
transitions.
The only advice I would give to other people that make music who might be overdoing shit is really like sometimes you don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, less is more. I also think too. I would hope and advise. You know, people don't have to take this advice, but I would hope that people don't have to feel just because things are easier now to like put out. You don't have to feel so much pressure to be like, yo, I made my first beat. I gotta get it on Spotify.
Yeah.
I gotta get it. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, my dad's a super talented musician, like fucking amazing guitar player, like Santana like level. Like he's that good.
Love that.
So I've recorded songs with him, and he'll be bugging me like, yo, I need to put that on Spotify. I'm like, Dad, like we can, but shit, it's all good. Like
Yeah.
you know, let's put this together right. You feel me?
Yeah, not the first draft,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And if you want to, that's fine. You know, there's no rules, but just some people need to hear that you don't have to do that. Don't
No.
feel like you have to.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it, especially just in today's age. Like you said, like if we look back at what we could say made music so great from the early 2000s to the 90s and before was that there was no like direct publication from the laptop to the world in like that.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go into the studio. You had to first of all write everything down, get everything prepared. If you had like musicians, you had to get all the musicians together, make sure what they were playing was what you wanted, and then you record it. Then you listen to it back over. Then it has to go through someone else to listen to it, like a trusted
now I can
producer.
go home and make a beat right now and post on Instagram and be like, yo, I just made this, y'all. Like,
Exactly.
Is that
no, it wasn't that. You had to go through like levels before you're like, okay, I have, even if it's just a single, I have a single that is up to a standard where I'm gonna
Yeah.
be, happy. This is gonna look good.
And if it's good or bad is debatable. Like if that's a good thing for the industry or not,
Yeah.
we could talk about that all day. But I think as long as people are sharing and creating, that's all I really care about.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people it works for some people, sometimes it doesn't, and also sometimes I might not like it, but
Yeah.
somebody else will, and that's what it's all about. It's really about finding who fucks with what you make, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it is definitely an interesting time to be a creative and as just a person, a consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So things are a lot different than what they used to be.
Yeah.
So I just think we have to adapt and embrace it.
Gotcha. Do you have a process for what, like, when you start like producing something, you start like getting everything going?
It depends. It always changes. It's never the same. There's certain things like I do, like certain fundamentals that I apply, but it's always different. Sometimes I might just be like, oh, let me do the keyboard. I have this melody stuck in my head, or I might have, if I sample, for example, I might be like, all right, let me chop this up, or personally, like if you listen to some of the rap stuff I've been doing with the homies. A lot of rappers like the loopless, like the loops with no drums, things like that, right? But I personally, as a producer, that's not my favorite thing to do. Mm-hmm. But if I'm trying to bring an idea that the homie had to life, he might bring a sample to me and be like, yo, you hear this little part? Can you loop that for me? That's what that is. But for me personally, I enjoy like intricacy and doing things just making it really complicated for myself because it's like a challenge, But at the same time, I can appreciate the minimalism of something else.
Gotcha.
But it's like I said, it's always different. So sometimes I'll do the drums first. Sometimes I'll do the bass. But as a drummer originally, like I was always a drummer first. That was like my first instrument. I like to do drums first as much as possible. Just because if you have the groove, that kind of builds that whole, where it can go. And then there's pockets in between grooves because I can be doing a house beat, right? But then I can slow it down. So there's someone, once I figure out that, I'm like, okay, cool. That's where the song's gonna come to life.
Mm-hmm. And I could just see like his thought process. It's like
maybe,
all over, right?
Maybe in the editing you can like put some little in the video.
He's got that ratatouille shit. Swirls and everything. Like, no, it's gonna do this. And oh my god. How do you think growing up and living in Long Beach shaped your music and just where?
I think that's probably like one of the most defining things of it, just because Long Beach is it's an interesting place. I think LA in general is like, to be as someone in LA County you're gonna experience so much, But I think Long Beach has been cool because there's just something about the energy there. You know, especially this where I'm from. I'm from the east side. You know, I lived on the north side. I pretty much kind of went everywhere in Long Beach. I got kicked out of Lakewood High School like at 10th grade.
Shout outs to Lakewood. Oh, Lakewood.
So I went to EPHS, and I was fucking up at EPHS, and they was like, "Yo, you got to go to OFL." So I was like, "All right." So I went to OFL, and you know, if you're at homeschool, then you know, like, you have so much free time.
Yeah.
And especially because, like, honestly, you know, shout out to my mom, but she didn't give a fuck back then. So I was like, I would take the bus, I'll go, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done with, you know, you just go to EPHS or OFL and you drop off the homework. And then I'm like, damn, I got like 5 hours to kill. So I would fucking take the 192. I would go up Atlantic, take the 192, go all the way down to the west side by Stevens, go by Cabrillo. You see what I'm saying? Like, going over there, hang out with the homies from Cabrillo. Then another day I'll be like, I'm going to hang out with the homies at Wilson. That's kind of how I know a lot of people, just because I was doing that. I was just like some random ass little kid that's like showing up at other schools. Like, hey, what's up, bro?
Networking early.
Yeah, dead ass. Like, bro. Like, really unintentionally. And also I was a skater, so I was like, you know, taking my skates everywhere and just at the skate park. You know, you just meet different people.
Yeah.
A lot of that plays a huge factor, though, in my music because I'm seeing a lot of different shit. Like, I feel like certain things I shouldn't have been seen as a kid. You know, I'm just going around getting like, people are gang banging on me. I'm just like, I'm just a skater kid, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up around a lot of that stuff, but I never indulged in it as much as I probably could have.
Yeah.
You know, I always chose like music and skating. So seeing certain things, you know, like finding out like, you know, seeing like someone got killed or just like that stuff, like you go home and you put on some music, you know, and you're like, fuck, that's crazy. That's, even if I didn't know, I'm an empathetic person. So I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. Another kid died. So stuff like that. And then there's just like the sounds of Long Beach. You know, you can go to the beach, you can go up Atlantic, you can go up Long Beach Boulevard, you're going to hear shit, you're going to go downtown. So a lot of that, I'm just, you know, it's all connected to me. So it plays a huge part of that. And then, like I said, just being from Long Beach is like where Long Beach is in LA. It's like to go to LA, you have to go through every other part. When you take that blue line, you're going through Compton, Watts, everything. So I was doing that too.
Yeah, okay.
I was going from the blue line, get off on fucking Florence and be in Huntington Park. I'll go all the way down to Highland Park. You know what I'm saying? Go to the Gold Line station, go to East LA. I was doing that a lot. I was like 17 to like 21. That was my life, just fucking busting missions everywhere. And a lot of that just went back into the music.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a local traveler.
Yeah, yeah. Like basically, that's the way I would describe it. It was like I was busting like local missions.
No, that's good though. How did you get into skating? I'm talking about inline skating.
Rollerblading. So I did used to skateboard.
Okay.
Yeah. I was skateboarding for a long time. A lot of people don't even probably know that. My brother was very big onto skateboarding. We grew up around a lot of other people who ended up becoming like pro skateboarders, and then it was always around. But I've always been kind of like anti-conformist, especially when you're younger, like all rebellious. Like skateboarding was always cool to me, but a lot of it had to do with I just want to do something different. I got tired of I was like anti-trend back then. I was like, yo, everybody's doing this shit. What's the most obscure thing I can do? And I saw some other dude rollerblading one day that was like one of our neighbors, and then he gave me a pair of skates, and the skates didn't fit me. So then my aunt had a pair of skates. I got those skates, and from there I just kind of fell in love with it. And then I just met other skaters throughout. Shout out to homie Keith and Greg. I met them. Across the street from my school was like a popular skate spot. So like I'd be across the street, look out the window, I see people skating. Oh shit! So I hop the fence and just like I'm a fucking newbie. I don't even know what I'm doing, and I just kick it with them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously, just roller skating in general as like a street sport, like it's not like a big thing. Like when most people think of I think of skateboarding or like BMX, which even BMX is small compared to skateboarding, but like.
Had its like moment. There was like a point in time, like in the '90s, it was like a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the X Games, everything, and then that's kind of what I liked about it. I liked the fact that it was like, yo, this ain't for everybody.
It was kind of an obscure sport, but it still had its.
Once you dive into it, you realize how big it is. You know what I mean? There's like a huge community, and nowadays it's even bigger. Like we.
Okay, cool.
The homies they own a skate brand called Them Skates. They just did a collab with Weekend Skateboards, That was like the first ever like rollerblade skateboard collab.
Yeah.
They're the first rollerbladers I think to have like an ad in Thrasher magazine.
Oh shit.
Rollerblading is definitely more on the forefront now. If you're like pay attention, but it's always been a huge community. And that's what I liked about it too. And certain things about rollerblading at the time when I discovered it, like they just stood out to me. Like I said, I was very into hip hop head or whatever. So like there's like a rollerblading game called Aggressive Inline. I don't know if y'all remember where Jet Set Radio.
That's the one I was gonna bring up.
Of course.
When you watch like a rollerblading video back then, especially people were wearing baggy clothes.
Yeah.
It's all hip hop, breakdancing. I was like, yo, this is all about. This is what I'm fucking with. I like this. And then the skateboard videos kind of have that element, but at the same time, it's like more rockerish.
Yeah.
Right. So like I instantly gravitated more towards like the rollerblading stuff. You feel me?
It's true.
So I heard fucking in the beginning when you put that video game on, they played Don't Sweat the Technique. I was like, yo, dun, dun, dun. I was like, oh, this is for me. I'm down. Like, this is it. Yeah.
And then Jet Set Radio, obviously.
Jet Set Radio, like graffiti, drum and bass, house. It's like, it was all there, bro.
Just a classic. Did you get that new one? The
You talking about Bomber Cyberfunk? I got that shit at the crib. Shit's fire. The music on there is hard.
It was sick. It was sick, yeah. And then I saw that they're actually, this is totally not what I was going to talk about, but did you see they're also going to be
redoing Jet Set Radio? I'm about to buy that too.
And a bunch of
I'm not even like a gamer like that. I really don't play that many, it's not even like I don't like video games or something. I'm not against it. I just never had like a gaming system.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up broke. You know what I'm saying? Like I never fucking had to play. My mom couldn't give me nothing. So as soon as I started having some, a little bit of money in my pocket, I was like, fuck, what can I do? So I bought that game. I need to get a PS5. That's like my next thing I want to get. Like, I just never really. That's like a whole nother world for me. I never like been that type of person to sit down and play games. Like,
yeah.
I sit down and I invest most of my money into music shit.
Which is probably good.
Yeah, but I mean, but dude, like honestly though, like video games are dope to me because like I mean it's art in my opinion, and then there's like the music aspect of it. Like sometimes I'll go on YouTube and I'll make music and I'll watch people play video games. Like I'll go like gameplay videos like God of War, Resident Evil. That shit is dope as fuck to me, even though I don't play them. You know what I'm saying? I just like watching that. Like I like kind of scoring it when I'm working on music.
I'm gonna get you into speed running.
Oh shit, speed running is crazy. I've seen, there's people that speed run beats now. You seen that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, shout out to homie Eddie off camera. Yeah. So if I'm talking over there, I'm not crazy. Yeah, people be speed running making beats like I gotta make a whole fucking. What did he do? He did Soulja Boy Crank that in 5 minutes. 17 seconds. Yeah.
He's like, you just broke the world record. You're 17, the first 17 under 17. I was like, dude, come on. But hey, no, yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's
you can speedrun anything. But yeah, speedrun. I.
You guys play games?
Super random.
I love, yeah.
I got it, bro. Like I've never been like that. I've never been like, yo, let me sit down and play Call of Duty all day. Like I don't know why. I think a lot of it just I just never go out of gaming system. But I think if I started doing it, I might get too deep into it.
That was the thing for me. I got started very young, and it's just kind of been one of those things where it's like, I've been doing it since I was a child, and it's like you said, for you was music, what you were doing since you were a kid. For me, is they were just like, dude, here's a N64, and I was like,
all I ever had was an N64. My dad had bought that shit for my stepbrother. He didn't even buy it for us, and we had an N64 in the back of the crib. And I used to play like only a couple of games, like was Madden, and then we would play, or sometimes I'll go to the McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Long Beach Boulevard in Delamo, I'll go to the McDonald's and I'll go and play Banjo-Kazooie right there.
Oh, hell yes, brother.
That shit was hard.
They had the N64s and the big-ass cubes in the middle of...
But that's just so that you understand, like, bro, I didn't have that shit, so it was like, and I think now I'm like, I gotta get my own PS5 because I never was able to get one, so now I can get one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, yeah.
We gotta get you like a... I'll get you something. I'll think of something for you. I'll get you like an Xbox. I'll get you like an Xbox where I can just help you get like every old game that you've ever wanted and just put it on there. Like I'll just because I do that shit too.
No, the homie gave I think he gave us like a PS4. So I've been meaning to like go see if I can find any games for it.
Okay.
So like I said, I still haven't even plugged that shit in, but I definitely
get that shit modded, bro.
Yeah.
Just unlock everything. You get everything.
Yeah.
What are some dope games that are out right now?
Oh, out right now? I mean, I stick to my usuals. So, like, I only play Apex Legends most of the time.
See, like, I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah. Well, for those playing Apex, you know what I mean. But, yeah, like, I'm not in tune with it anymore, you know? Like, I'm not, like, looking at gaming.
Oh, so you like... So I think that's maybe why I don't really play games, like... Or why I've never really been like, oh, shit, I need to go get one right now. Because I'm more into storylines.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm more into, like, beating a game, and that's it. Like, I'll be like, all right, cool, I played Resident Evil. I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I literally beat Resident Evil 4 at the homie's house one time. I went over there when the GameCube was out.
Yeah.
And I sat there for like a day and I just played it and I beat it. And that was like the only time I played it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm into storylines mostly.
You beat it once and you're done. And you know the story. You have fun with it.
Yeah. So I think I'm never like, oh, I'm gonna sit at the crib and like play like all these people. Maybe something I'll do as like, especially nowadays, I want to be home
don't
more.
do it, bro.
You don't think so?
You're gonna get pissed off. You're just gonna get pissed off. It's not yet.
I'm the exact same way as you. I used to be like him. Like growing up, like obviously I had like the Call of Duties, the Halos. You know, you did that shit because you were 12, 13 years old with your friends on Xbox Live. You know, just going crazy playing COD, right? But as I got older, like one because like you know I have an adult job now where I have to go to work and I'm already stressed, and then I have to come home and lose to 12-year-olds in Call of Duty. Like that's not how I want to spend like the rest of my night. Like after a long day at work.
But what about like? Don't they make? Can't you make money off that shit now?
Oh, that's streaming. Yeah.
What if I became one of the goats? Like,
shit. Take me with.
What's like a popular gamer? What's the guy's name? I be seeing them shits on Twitter all the time. Like, you know, the fucking there's like a
Ninja, dude.
like Ninja or some shit, right? Yeah. I think those are the dudes that be doing like the fighting now too. Are those guys like gamers or something?
Oh, that Jake Paul? No.
No, like, you know, is there like the YouTube stream, like the streamers they go have the boxing matches?
Yeah.
Myth.
There's a couple.
There's a few
couple
of them.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna become one of those guys.
Fuck it, bro. I'm your biggest supporter, bro.
I think that's the most lucrative career. That's what I have to do with the podcast. I'm trying to just get a big enough podcast where I get to be in a celebrity fight night. That's the only reason why I'm doing this shit. It's like,
I'm gonna start a producer fight night. That'd be lit.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Like a beat battle. the beat down.
actually battle.
Especially a lot of people be talking shit on the internet to each other. I'm like, yo, y'all just need to fight.
Yeah.
Instead of subtweeting each other.
Yeah.
Let's get in the ring.
But yeah, no. So I'm like you. I think I just do story mode games now. I just like having my me time, just doing some shit. I think I know like big right now. Like obviously like the Spider-Man games on PS5.
That shit looks dope. I for example, that's one of the things I sat there. I made a beat. Had the Spider-Man game playing.
Yeah.
That shit look fire. I'm like, okay, got the
I don't have a PS5.
Miles Morales and the regular. Yeah, it looks
that
dope.
shit looks cool. You got that. I mean, like I know like God of War is usually always a pretty big game. I'm playing Cyberpunk right now.
I heard that was cool. I watched the anime like on Netflix.
Okay, I haven't watched the anime. I just haven't. It's pretty playing the game, but no, the game's cool. I just fuck around on it. It's kind of like GTA, but
I like how like immersive the games are now.
Yeah. With that GTA 6 coming.
Yeah, that shit looks crazy.
That's gonna take
that
a
shit's
lot
gonna
of my
be
time. I'll tell you that right now.
See, that's why I might have to get the PS5, man. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's just like once GTA 6, I don't even have a PS5, but once GTA 6 comes out, I'm like, I'm gonna get the PS5.
Because every time something happens, I'm like, oh, PS5 or $400 plug-in that I don't even really need. I buy the plug-in. I'm fucking buying unnecessary music shit.
It's just fine.
It's all right.
That's you.
At least it's going for you. You know, like,
we don't need to lose you. Dude, like Vinny hasn't done anything in like 8 months. He's like,
it's like he's streaming now. Like,
I'd be down to do music for games though. Like I would be super down for like the Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
Do the soundtrack for that. Easy. I could get away with that.
Getting into OSTs is pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. This is again super random, not what I had planned to talk about, but like growing up, I was a big fan of the Kingdom Hearts games.
I like that one song from there. I never even really played Kingdom Hearts, but I know the song.
The music in that,
the music is dope.
This year, for whatever reason, they released the games 1 and 2, the full soundtracks on Spotify. On my Spotify rap, that's on like my top of this year, just because I was just banging
Japanese composers and stuff like that. They're crazy, bro.
I was just banging those albums like constantly because I was like, yo, just the music in this game was so like it was so nostalgic of me like growing up, and then you know
what game I did fuck with? Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear, that shit was dope. I like crazy games like that, like. For sure, because those are games like I think my mom's boyfriend at the time, he had a PlayStation, and like they had like I think that you play like Psycho Mantis. You have to unplug your memory card or you unplug your controller into the other one to beat him. You have to like
what?
Yeah, so basically you're playing Psycho Mantis. You have to unplug the controller, and plug it into the second player port to fight him.
That's why I hated when
that shit was fire. Like shit like that.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I fuck with shit like that.
Stupid shit where it's like if you plug it in the fourth controller, you're just God mode. But no one does it. It's like I want to be number one. It's like if you just put it in the 4, like you could beat the game in 2 seconds. You're like, fuck, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, I sample a lot. Like I'll find like the sound files from video games, like, and I'll find like I have like all these. If you listen to Seafood Sam, some of those, like one of the songs we have, I put all these Grand Theft Auto sounds in it.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Shout outs to Seafood.
Yeah.
All right, back to my interview shit. Sorry, guys. Thank you for listening to our tangents. You are also a Soulection DJ and producer. Do you want to talk about how you kind of got involved with them?
With Soulection?
Yeah.
Yeah, so long story short, or not long story short, but I guess the best way I could summarize it was so I've always been into, like I said, hip hop and soul music, R&B. And there was only, at the time, online, there was only like a few people that I would say were like really pushing that stuff. Mm-hmm. There was this website called Movement. Okay. Yeah, Movement. So actually at Long Beach City College, when I started going there, I took radio classes with like one of my best friends at the time. And he had like a radio show where he was kind of playing like neo soul joints. And then he put me onto that website Movement. Okay. And then from Movement, I found Soulection. Like Joe like was doing like some of his first, I think it wasn't even Soulection. It was like Deep Beats or whatever he was calling it at the time.
When he was at Cal State Long Beach?
No, it wasn't even Cal State Long Beach. Okay. It was before that.
Oh shit!
I think
shit.
I'm not. Don't get me. I might be wrong. Sorry, Joe. It's like at Irvine or somewhere else. Like, okay. But then he went to Cal State. So then I had kind of like already like followed him on like Facebook, and I was just kind of keeping up with him. And then I seen that he was doing it out of Cal State Long Beach at some point. Like, there was like a couple episodes in. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh shit. Like, I just kind of like, I hit him up and I was like, yo, bro, like, I fuck with what you're doing. Like, that's dope that you're doing it in Long Beach and not from Long Beach. There's not too many. Because compared to now to back then, there's people that made music, but that specific sound, like, especially like at the time of like Low End Theory, mm-hmm. like experimental music, whatever you want to call it at the time, a lot of people weren't pushing that. So that genre melting music, right? Yep. A lot of people weren't doing that, so I just kind of gave him my respects, and he was like, he got back to me, he was like, yo, I fuck with your shit. There was a song that I had on my SoundCloud or something like that, and he had asked if he could use it for a compilation that they were doing. But the thing is, I made that beat like on my SP404, which means I didn't have like stems to it. Mm-hmm. Like I made it and I exported it and I had deleted whatever I did to make it.
It was just uploaded on the internet. It
was just there, yeah. So it ended up not getting on that specific compilation, but I just started pulling up to the radio show at Cal State. I would just take the bus up there mm-hmm. and link with them, just to kind of peep it out and just vibe out to the music. Did I have special guests, like early days of like the Soulection dudes, like. Before it was really what it is now, like pulling up.
Yeah.
And then they did like a Jay Dilla tribute show in San Diego. And then we drove down there. I was actually in crutches at the time. I had broke my ankle skating, and I still fucking pulled up. I was in crutches. This was like my first. So basically, he asked us to play, and then
this is your first gig.
It's like our first gig with them, right? Okay. So then they posted a picture on Instagram during my set, and he posted like on the Soulection page like pretty much like one of our newest members of the crew, and I was like, oh okay, bet.
Shoot.
I was like, shit, like dope, I guess, yeah, I'm all in, like yeah, whatever, and especially me, like when I'm a part of something, I'm all about it. I'm like, okay, cool, you want me to be a part of this? Mm-hmm. I'll rep that shit like I'm like it's a gang, you know what I mean? Like for real, like I'm walking around, I got the fucking Soulection pin on my hat, like. Just going around. I'll go to other events passing out Soulection stickers.
Yeah.
Saying like, just cause like, hey, here, look this up. Soulection. You fuck with this type of music, you might like this.
Yeah.
Just kind of doing that. You know what I mean? And then from there, like they had me do a couple more shows, and it just kind of like I wish I could speak on it more in verbatim, but a lot of it was just kind of like organic.
Yeah.
Just I just really we like-minded people. People who like the same stuff as me. He's playing like D'Angelo. He's playing like Chicago music, house music, footwork music, all these things that I really fuck with. And it was just cool to be around people who have the similar tastes as me. And also being able to discover new sounds that, he's someone that's constantly digging. Yeah. So I would go to the radio station and just be like, yo, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. So it was cool. And that's kind of how those things started. And it's just been, just never changed. It's just always been down supporting them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because that's how I got put on to you was because of Soulection, and I think it was it could have either been the compilation that you were on after that original one didn't come out, because I'm pretty sure you were on one of the white labels or...
No, I didn't do a white label, not yet.
Oh, sorry.
See, that's the thing too. Is a lot of stuff is. So when I became a part of Soulection, you gotta keep this in mind. And some people don't. I never really talk about this, but I was going through so much. I was like just young still. I was really figuring out who the fuck I am. And I was making music, and there's like. Remember what the conversation we had earlier about like you put your first song out and people fuck with it? That's what a lot of that was. I was just putting my music on my SoundCloud and people were like, yo, this is dope.
Yeah.
Yo, we're part of this crew that's getting really big, right? And I'm like, fuck, I don't even feel like I'm on like the level to even do that. So me, naturally, I kind of took a step back. I was never like, hey, let me send you guys all my music.
Yeah.
I guess in a way I didn't take advantage of the wave. I've never been a wave rider in general. I've been thankful to be a part of a lot of different waves, like kind of coincidentally. But I never wanted to just be like, all right, this shit's blowing up. Let me blow up off of it. It was kind of like, if it happens, it happens. If it, I wasn't really not thinking about it. I was just happy to support them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really do all the things that I feel like people wanted me to do, and that, or like what they expected me to do, or like sometimes certain people who might have had that same opportunity might have did things differently than I did, but I feel like I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So that's why kind of what people see now is like I feel like now I'm ready to really kind of step into whatever I'm supposed to do, and that's kind of how I always felt. I always knew that when I was younger, if I had a certain level of success or had access to certain things, I would have fucked it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just wouldn't have been able to really gauge it, especially with everything going on in my life. You feel me? And that's the thing. Like I was around these dope ass artists, this really dope crew that's just blowing up constantly, but I was still making beats on a broken laptop with plugging in the aux cord into my TV and making beats off my TV. And then people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like getting asked like, yo, can you send stems for this project? I don't even know how to bounce out stems. So a lot of that was, while I was part of that, I was still in the process of learning what I know now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And even though I had like a natural raw talent, like I could make a beat that was dope, but did I know how to mix it? Did I know how to make it sound the way I wanted it to sound? I didn't know that back then. So now I do. So that's what a lot of that was. I feel like a lot of people are always like, yo, how come you didn't, when they first did this project, why weren't you part of that?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I can admit that humbly.
And that's, like you said, I think that's a very insightful way to look at it. Because, I think if anyone gets the opportunity to get on any sort of group or collective that's doing something that is on that upward spiral, they're going to be like, okay, like I'm just going to do what I can to be there with them. But for you to be like, like I'm still going to be there, but I'm not going to like, I'll let you guys handle everything. And like when I'm ready, I'll let you know like when it's time for me to come out. Because shit, like I said, like get the podcast up. I'll fight tomorrow. I'll give a shit. Kick back a little bit and but no, I'll fight tomorrow.
Make that the clip. Make that the clip.
But,
that's what I mean. It's different for everybody. For me personally, I just knew that was the path for me. I was kind of like, all right, let me take a step back and let me really just figure myself out first, And obviously, if there were certain things they wanted me to do, like, oh, we have a show, I'll rock to the occasion. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go and I'll fucking figure out a way to do it. If I didn't know how to use some DJ equipment or something I didn't know how to do, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just with the music itself was very like there's certain ideas that I had that and as I've gotten a little older, it's like fuck, like you only have one life, so let me not really think too much about stuff. But at the same time, like when people say that, like you only got one life, you could die tomorrow. I was more like, I'm just not gonna die tomorrow.
I like that. You know That's a good mentality.
For real.
Keep that mentality.
There it is. You're all inspiring.
I mean, it is inspiring, is it not?
For real, bro. Because people always be like, yo, you could die any day. You got to put some music out. I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna die.
Exactly.
That's how I felt. I was like, I'd rather get dope and not die. And then when I'm dope, there you go.
That's when I can
y'all
say
can have me. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt. I was like, nah. People always tell me like, bro, you could die any day, bro. You need to get some music out. You need to do this. You need to take it out. Nah, I'll be all right. I got dead homies. You see what I'm saying? Like, I got that fire in me to not let that happen.
I hear it.
There you go.
That shit could happen, but it's like, at least I knew I didn't put no mid out.
Everything you put in out.
Yeah, because I'm definitely the type of person, bro. I would listen to some shit I would have put 10 years ago and I didn't want to put out. Like if I had dropped like the white label when they were first doing it,
it'd be like
I probably would not like it because I want to do some shit where it's like it sounds like an album, but it's only 4 tracks.
Yeah.
And I could have done that back then. It would have been dope. I could have put some dope beats out, but just for me and my standard of what I want to do, I'm not saying I need to make the most fucking amazing project ever. I'm down to have room for growth, but it just when it comes to things like that, those opportunities, I'd rather be like, yo, Joe, here's here's my project that like, you know, this is me as a grown ass man, everything I've experienced into this sound versus like, yo, this is me, some young kid who learned how to use Fruity Loops. You feel me?
Yeah.
So, and sometimes it works for certain people, you know. It's like, look at artists like Sam G, Monty Booker. These are like dope kids that they discovered who fucking got fire, and they just continuously grown. And maybe I could have been a part of that, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do it my way.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I had heat back then. I had some slappers, but it was just like, now it's like, okay, cool. I'm a better musician. I have access to other musicians that I didn't, you know. Like, I know how to mix and master my own music, just certain things. So I'm content with being a little older. And also, I can handle things more responsibly. That's like the main thing I always try to tell people is like, imagine I was making money or something back then. I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it. Now I know, like, okay, cool. Like, let me save this. Let me put this towards that. Get some good credit. Things like that. I didn't know any of that stuff, you know. So
so shout out to Soulection.
Yeah, shout out Soulection. That's the fam.
Like I said,
you know,
that's what put me on to Vinny, and just because I saw he was from Long Beach, and at the time, again, like I was trying to do DJing and shit, and I was like, fuck it, like I'm reach out to this guy, and thankfully he was a cool dude and was like, yeah, come on out, and I was like, all right, I appreciate you. So yeah, we went to a lot of shows back in the day.
It's been dope to see everything Soulection's done, you know. Like I said, like it's been dope to be a part of it, but I try not to take I try to look at it. I'm still a fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm as much as I'm part of the crew and I've been able to have access to certain things that they've done and experience it from like a more intimate perspective with them. I'm still always a fan first, you know. I'm actually like a fan of what they do.
Yeah, no,
you know?
Definitely.
Yeah. So
they got it right. At least for me, for the most part. Go ahead.
So, I know you usually do like kind of like different kind of beats, like that are, what is it? What would you call it? Kind of like hip hop. Yeah.
It's for me, like if I were to summarize it, it's like hip hop and house mainly. It's like the genres like I'll dive in.
Would you ever jump into like doing some shit like, I don't know, like punk rock or like?
Oh, I have. Trust me, I have. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I literally was like part of a. You know, I'm a DJ for like the homies. Reaper Mook. He was part of a group called Crime Wave 5150.
Yeah.
And that shit was like very rock oriented, you know what I mean? Like we were doing punk shows. You know, I grew up, my brother was like a punk rocker too. So my dad's also a metalhead. You feel me?
Oh, gotcha.
So I grew up all around that stuff. Like I can do that. Definitely I've been wanting to start like a band and do something like that. Like there's a lot of ideas that I have, but it's all there, you know. It's not just like I'm only Mr. Hip Hop. I'm very into a lot of dope.
You got diversity too.
Yeah. You know, I love rock music. I love like the tones that they have with the guitars. I love all different types of stuff. So for me as a producer, I think that's like what I'm supposed to do is like, if I'm just doing one thing, it's like, that's cool and it works for people.
Stuck in that box.
I'm stuck in that. You know, one day I might have a whole fucking indie rock album that I'd help somebody produce. For my own personal brand or whatever, like my own music, I don't know if I'm going to be like, yo, here's the Nice Guy Vinny house album, and then here's the rock album. Yeah. But there's going to be something in there that whatever I'm doing has like, you can hear that, okay, that guitar was like very inspired by like Led Zeppelin or some shit.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I've done a lot of different sounds though. I'm always dabbling from reggae to reggaeton to fucking hip hop to rock, jazz, classical. It's all, as long as it's a mix of noise, I like it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
One question I want to ask, or not ask, but get into. So obviously this should have been done in the beginning, but I want to talk about it now. Your name obviously is Nice Guy Vinny.
My real name is Vincent.
Your real name is Vincent. You can't go by that because you're friends with Vince Staples. And so
shout out Vince.
So can you who decided to, you do it like I'll just go by Vinny and you can be Vince, or
there's like a Boiler Room episode that he did where he was like talking shit to me in the crowd.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that.
That's what I'm pulling from. Because Vince also says, I remember those days when you were hanging out with Tyson and them, and people kept asking me if that was me, and I was like, no, that's not me.
No, he's talking about the homie Tyson. Shout out him. That's funny. Yeah, that's crazy that he said that you said that right now. Nah, but me and Vince, we know each other since high school days because I went to Lakewood. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna say where he went, but he went somewhere close to there. And then Pretty much, but in general, we grew up with the same homies. So Lakewood Mall was a stomping ground for a lot of people,
Yep, that's the hangout
especially in
spot.
Long Beach.
Yeah.
You would end up at Lakewood Mall somehow.
Town
So we would go there, and there was like these two crews or whatever, like cliques back then in Long Beach. We're kind of like the popular kid. I don't really know how to describe it, but it was like those are like the cool kids there at the time. And then we just had homies from mutual friends, and yeah, that's kind of how that started. I just met him back, just kind of just being like a little badass kid, just fucking going to the mall and stealing True Religions. I would go to Macy's and steal fucking True Religions and slip them under my pants and shit like that. Hopefully they don't arrest me right now for that.
Statues.
But yeah, we were banned. We were banned from that Macy's actually. But yeah, no, I just met Vince like that, just kind of being around the city, like I said, like kind of just hanging out with different people. And then I think on MySpace we had each other as friends, and I went to his page one time, and he had like some dope music that I fuck with. That I was like, yo, you like? I think it was like Flying Lotus or something. I was like, yo, you fuck with Flying Lotus?
Yeah.
You got to keep this in mind too. At the time, like I'm not even thinking about like any of the Odd Future stuff that was going on at all. Like
this is when he was
like that,
starting with or like hanging out with them. Yeah.
One of the homies, shout out, man, this is crazy because I never get to tell this story. So the homie Lavish. Some people might know him as Dijon Samo or Samo. I don't know even how he says it because I always see it on the words, but I don't know how he actually says it. But he used to go by the name Lavish. That's the homie Chuck's brother.
Okay.
He's a dope DJ, dope rapper. He's a dope artist in general. Dope cat overall. So shout out him. He actually, there's like an interview somewhere out there with Vince where he basically was the one that taught Vince how to like really structure his raps.
Okay.
And he's very active in the DJ scene right now in LA. He DJs with like Blue the Gray and all those cats. But yeah, he also, like I said, he's been dropping new music too. So through him, like I said, we all have mutual friends.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. Damn, you're gonna make me go down memory lane right now.
Deep cut.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm pulling my Nardwar out. Where were you back in 2006?
Yeah, so like I went to his page, and then so like the homie Lavish, that was his rap name at the time. On his page, he had Tyler the Creator on his top 8. I think that he grew up with Tyler or something. Like he knew Tyler before all that stuff, and that's how like I discovered like Yonkers when it came out. Like I remember Yonkers just dropped around that time. So, anyways, but I went to Vince's page because I think Vince had moved. I think he went to Atlanta or something like that. So we were just kind of keeping up with each other via MySpace or something. And he had like a Flying Lotus song, and I was like, bro, like you fuck with this shit? Like we've known each other for so long. And like like growing up around like certain people, it was like I just didn't expect that. I was always thinking I was like the only one that was into that shit. So it was cool that me and him resonated. So then if you hear his music now, it makes sense because he's like fucking with dudes that are adjacent to that kind of stuff. Like Mac Miller and all those cats. Like you listen to the Earl music, it was all those type of beats. And so basically, like I knew Vince kind of just on some city kid shit, and then to find out that he kind of liked the same music as me. After we already knew each other was dope. Imagine me knowing you this whole time, and then you're like, yo, you fuck with Soulection? And so that's basically what that was. And then, but in general, before that, we were always cool. But and then that's like when I started seeing him really kind of, his music stuff started kind of, he dropped that song with Earl, and people were like, yo, who the fuck is this kid? And then, he did his own thing. And
kid from Long Beach, man.
Yeah, but yeah, me and Vince just go back from those days. I feel like a lot of the things that we were doing, or like that circle of people, a lot of those people make music. There was like Zero was from like the same clique as us. Westside Boogie was around, the homies Epic, Desi. I know all those guys. We all grew up together. Okay. So it's been cool to see everybody. It's crazy to say. And one thing I like about being from Long Beach is that everybody that's from here that was doing it back then is still doing it, and they're doing it successfully. You know what I mean? And that looks different for different people. Some people might be at certain places in their career, and some people might not be. But at the end of the day, they're all super talented, and they're all having their own, road to success. Yeah. So I'm super thankful to be a part of that. Like a lot of times that doesn't happen for everybody. Like to have a whole city where everybody is fucking dope and killing it. From like Seafood, Brisk, like I said, Seafood, Brisk, Desi, Epic, all those cats, Vince, Joey Fats, like we all were around each other back then, and everybody's has their name in their respective lanes.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So, yeah, it is. It's a big successful area in this little city that we have here.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we end out, I have a couple of things I want to get into too. altruism. You want to speak on that?
Yeah. So altruism is. Well, what do you want to know about it? That's actually a better question.
For the people that don't know, what is it?
So altruism. So that's the thing.
Gotcha.
Okay, so altruism, the word, first of all, is long story short, is being selfless in a way. Like it's in nature is when an animal might like sacrifice itself for another. Okay. So that's kind of where that stems from. But I've done a lot of research on just like that process. For me personally, the reason why there's lots of reasons why we call it that. For me, it was always something that I try to like strive to be. Like, you can never fully be like 100% altruistic. There has to be a level of selfishness that you got to be selfish a little bit. Uh-huh. You can't always pour into other people if you're not pouring into yourself. So, but at the same time, that word always resonated with me because I was like, yo, like I really like that. I know that like in my core, some people might disagree, that might have known me. We all have our own perceptions of people or ourselves. But I always tried to feel like, okay, like how can I be selfless? Mm-hmm. Like if I was gonna die today, like I want to at least have been selfless as much as I possibly have could. So it's just that kind of just always stuck with me. And then when we started talking about like doing an event, so back to the question is altruism as an event is it's just a community event that we do once in a while. It's not like a monthly thing. It started last year or around this time this year. Mm-hmm. It was November 18th, I believe, 2022. So obviously most people know that I've done a lot of events in Long Beach. But this was like my first time really like, okay, like this is me curating a lot of the aspects of it. Yeah. With the homie Jay, me and him go way back. He was booking me for like a lot of my first shows. He's done a lot of dope events. Like one of the first shows I ever did with him was like with Sango and Anderson .Paak, just for... So that way you can see the level of what he was doing back then. Yeah. And then the other homegirl, Aiko, she I went to Lakewood with her actually. I've known her for a minute, and she's been doing like curating her own events too. So, well, altruism itself, like I said, it's a community event that we try to put on. It's like an art show, it's like a photo gallery, it's a music event, it's a party, it's all those things. But really, for me, it's just a way to try to give back to Long Beach in the way that I'm able to, and that's by providing a dope escape for people, something dope to do, bringing some talent that they've never seen before to Long Beach, kind of getting like, okay, there's lots of dope shit. If you go to LA, you go to one of those parties, like those DJs, you're only gonna see them out there. It's like, okay, how do we get these guys to come to Long Beach? There's a lot of connections I've made through my music industry experience or whatever you want to call it. It's like, how do I bring these dope people to the city? And that's kind of what that is. Long story short, what it is exactly is just a dope event that we do.
Oh, for sure. No, man, and congratulations on that. Like you said, you guys just hit your first year, so wishing you guys many more successful events in the future.
That's the plan. Is I don't think I'm gonna do them like every. I want it to continuously grow because like the overall goal for it is to just do a free festival. Yeah. Because like even like the name altruism is like I feel weird like doing an event and having to like charge people. Yeah. But in order to make those things happen, there has to be certain expenses that have to get covered.
Of course.
And I think with the type of event that I'm doing, I mean if you go and look at the lineups that I've had, those are events that you can go to LA and pay $20 to $30 for. Like I'm doing them in Long Beach for $10. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and the whole goal is to just make it free. Yeah. So that's like we had a great first year. So I think for 2024, I'm going to try to just tackle just doing one free event in the summer. I've been a part of other free events and I'm like, okay, cool. I think I know how to make this happen. Mm-hmm. Just got to put all the right puzzle pieces together. Exactly. But yeah, that's really I wanted to eventually gravitate towards being like a nonprofit thing in general, like where it's like a nonprofit that kind of highlights other nonprofits, if that makes sense. Okay. Like there might be, as a DJ, for example, we put people on the music. That's what we do. Like you're a new artist. My job is to like break your record, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Like, and I feel like with anything that's cool, quote unquote, like popular shit, we're always kind of like having to put people on to stuff, right? But I think the shit, like, you know, like there's a nonprofit organization that works with immigrants. There's a nonprofit organization that works with special needs kids. Like, those things are cool to me. You know what I mean? Those people that do that, like, you know, the DJs, they're always, you know, the musicians, the celebrities, those are all the people that we always kind of like put on the pedestal. But there's so many other people that are doing just as much work, if not way more work, in our communities, you know, from, like I said, people that are organizing community events. The fucking dude walking down the street selling tamales or, you know, elote. It's like those people I have way more respect for than somebody that's at the, you know, at the party.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, how do I combine those worlds? How can I highlight some, you know, there might be a woman who's, you know, she has like an organization that is helping other women like with certain issues. I'm like, those people don't really get highlighted within a lot of events. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or if they do, it's kind of like, oh, like let's just slap this on there. I want to create something that like really honors and gives those people their flowers just as much as we do to like celebrity culture and all that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I love that. That's cool.
So that's kind of what I want to do is like figuring out ways to throw a dope event that kind of gets people to his attention, and then okay, here's like what this is for,
Showcasing the cause.
what the cause is, and I've seen other people do it, and I'm just trying to figure out ways to kind of do it in a way that works to me is more impactful.
Yeah. I like it, man. That's good.
So yeah, I think that's what I mean by like a nonprofit that helps other nonprofits. Like basically like instead of me just being like, yo, we're a nonprofit that does this, we're gonna go and figure out, okay, this nonprofit might not have as much clout or, you know, backing. So how can we be a supportive beam for that? So that's really what I want to do long term.
Oh yeah.
Very nice.
Obviously incorporating music and things like that into it.
Yeah, very nice. And then, real quick, real brief. I mean, this is probably not a brief question, but like, can you touch on like how you've also been a part of like almost the regrowth or you know the resurgence of VIP records?
I wouldn't say I've been a part of like the regrowth of it. So my perspective on that is really that I just fuck with them. I'm a big fan of VIP and everything that they've been, you know, that they've done. I just feel like I try to just, if I'm doing something, I try to incorporate them into it just because I feel like that was something that was missing. You know, like with our events, I hit them up and I was like, yo, like I have the first altruism. I was like, yo, I'd love to have some representation because, well, for more context, the first altruism was a response to ComplexCon.
Yeah.
So ComplexCon happens. It's a dope event. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been there to every ComplexCon, but I feel like there was never a lot of local involvement.
It's just where they have it. It's in Long
yeah,
Beach.
it's just in Long Beach, but it's not really like Long Beach. It's like super involved. You know what I mean? And for such a pop culture, or you know, long story, Complex technically is like a hip hop magazine. For such a hip hop thing, you know, I think at the first ComplexCon they had like a VIP booth, and they were there, but I felt like there was never like any after parties. Like, you know, there's never been like a dope after party that like everybody in the city really knew about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There might have been like some shit where like A$AP Rocky was doing it at some like random bar downtown. But, like not everybody could go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something accessible. And even itself, ComplexCon is debatable, but it's not that accessible for the community. So I was like, okay, how do I get, like when you walk into ComplexCon, you walk in there and you go, okay, this is all the cool fly shit, right? That's usually what it is. So I wanted to create like an event that's like when you walk into here, this is all the dope shit in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically how that idea kind of came, you know, into fruition with altruism. So when I think of Long Beach, with music, there's only a few things I think of. So naturally, it's going to be a no-brainer to hit a VIP and have them involved because when people walk in there, it's like they're going to see, okay, VIP records.
Mm-hmm.
That's Long Beach.
Oh yeah.
So, and then in general, I've just been trying to help them, like however I can, just figuring out ways to, you know, activate that space more, get more people to pull up to the store. So we've been doing, you know, little small activations like in-store studio sessions and DJ party, you know, like little kickbacks. And then just, there's other things that we're planning. But really, I just want to support them. That's really what that is. I wouldn't say like a resurgence because they've never gone anywhere. They've always been there. You see what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course they haven't,
So,
but I just feel like you said, like with you, essentially you kind of are though, because like I said, you're bringing more people into it, even though it's never really gone, but you're still creating that space. Hey guys,
I just like to be mindful of like how I word it in a sense.
hear
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to act like yo, I'm the only one that's ever doing that. You know, they're doing a lot of shit. You know, he's getting awards. He's going to other cities. things like that. But I guess I'm just trying to help make it more on the forefront for people who might be sleeping on it.
Gotcha.
That's where I come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like a DJ, like I said, as a DJ, it's like I'm putting on music that people might be sleeping on. That's kind of what we do. We share music. So I just want to also share other people in their businesses, and I'm very big on supporting local business. I mean, obviously black business, just Long Beach business. You know what I mean? Like I'm very big on that. So naturally, there are people that I really, I want to help them get that sign back type of shit.
For real. Well, awesome, man. Yeah.
Shout out VIP.
Shout out VIP. You got anything else? Any last parting questions? Oh, I had these, but I appreciate you for that.
I mean, I guess the only thing I can ask is, what's next? What you have upcoming?
So with altruism in itself, there's going to be other events that I'm going to help kind of maybe put together, but it won't necessarily be like an altruism event. It'll be more like we're like a supporting brand of that.
Gotcha.
And there's other things, altruism isn't limited to just parties. I might, like I said, we have the VIP sessions that we do at VIP Records. So we're going to do more of those. There's other, community things I want to do, like an altruism, toy drive, things like that.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
it's not always just parties. We might just do solely a gallery type of thing. Mm-hmm. Eventually, like I said, gravitating towards a nonprofit idea. Other things too, like, other parties, other things that aren't necessarily like altruism. Like sometimes I want to just throw a dope ass, ratchet ass party. You know what I mean? Not everything. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Like with the event stuff, I'm always open to stuff. I also think that altruism, to be able to go to other cities and find like-minded people would be dope. Mm-hmm. Altruism San Francisco, altruism New York, really cool. Things like that. Those are some conversations I've been having. For me personally, really just figuring out, trying to drop some music. It's been a long time coming. I've dropped some things and I've produced some things, but I really want to just be more. Like, remember how I said I was kind of like a little more reserved about like sharing stuff? Now I'm just like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good,
you're gonna hear it, Hungry. Yeah, I'm gonna give them some music.
Music, dude.
Probably gonna drop like a couple like ideas that have been sitting on the hard drive over the past couple of years. Just put them on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and then hopefully like a new EP at the top of the year. Right. Like an actual I think I'm gonna spend January, February, and then like in March probably drop like something. I have like this really cool. So I have a Super 8 camera.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I just got like a VHS camera. I have I have a similar camera to the one I was telling you earlier. My grandma, so my family, they're from Dominican Republic. She has a Super 8 that my grandpa had. So I have all this Super 8 footage from the time they're in the DR to when they moved out here. Yeah. So what I want to do is get my new footage from my Super 8 and mix it together with the old footage and like make a whole project that's like themed around that. So that's something that I'm really gonna try to like take super seriously this year, starting like when I go home working on it. You know what I mean? Definitely, it's been a long time coming, but I definitely want to do something that's been overdue with Soulection. Whatever that may look like, maybe they'll do another compilation soon or a white label if Joe's gonna bring that back. I know he's done a couple of them recently, so I just want to give them a project that I feel like they deserve from me. That I feel like really showcases my whole journey with them. So that's something I want to do. More production for the homies, Rick Remove, Seafood Sam, Ship, trying to get some stuff with Huey Briss. Other artists, there's other people that I've been connected to, and I'm open to working with more artists that I might not even have ever worked with before. I'm trying to make more time to just be like, and more open and more accessible.
Gotcha.
You only got one life. Nah, but not for real. I really want to work with more people. That's something. That's why we started those VIP sessions too, because it's cool to like sit in the studio with some cats I never met and like make some dope shit. I just want to be productive.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys can bounce off ideas too.
Yeah,
kind of get
exactly.
some new sounds.
So next year is gonna be a lot of that. Just a lot of more openness. Like I feel like lately I've been a sponge. Now it's kind of like, okay, now I'm ready to share and kind of give people what I feel like I've been slacking on in a way.
There you go.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you for coming on, and
thank you guys for having me.
Of course, man. It's been a long time coming, and
let's do it again soon.
Yeah,
let's do it again whenever, man. Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, man. I think that's it for us. If there's any other like last words, shout outs, plugs, whatever you want to do.
Thank you guys. Most importantly, Nice Guy Vinny at NICEGUYVINNY. Don't forget the X, NICEGUYXVINNY. If anyone ever wants to work, feel free to tap in, whatever that may look like. Pull up to VIP sessions. We do those. Pull up to altruism whenever the next one is. Hopefully this summer. Hopefully that one's free. And make sure that they keep up with you guys, of course. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting over the years. I promise I won't let you down. You know what I mean? We're gonna do some dope shit this next year. Shout out Long Beach. Shit, shout out LA, shout out the West Coast. Shout out the universe. Shout out to the extra dimensional beings. We can get real deep with it, but just like shout out everybody for reals. I think we're all living life and we're all on our own little crazy journeys, and sometimes, we gotta remember that we're in this shit together for reals. It's cliche, but it's real shit. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Good shit, man. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Man, where can they find you, buddy?
Well, thank you again, brother. Humble, passionate, inspirational. Make sure to follow him. But if you want to follow me, hit me up at Emmanuel Tanap on Instagram. Everything else I don't want you to find. And Tyson?
Tyson X Phillip on all socials. And then make sure you guys go check out the show everywhere at Too Good For You Pod on Instagram, YouTube, everything else. I don't remember what else we have. Everything else. Just go look it up. You know where we're at. Shout out Eddie on the couch.
Shout out Eddie.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace, y'all.
Peace. Hell yeah.